back and forth, it could easily be proven by just simply showing us your ancestors' human remains, bro. Because we can show you that by the
You can
thousands.
look up Luzia, which is older than
Wait a minute.
Mia.
Wait a
Uh,
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
then
minute. Let me
also
let
they
me
said
ask you
there's
the
something
question.
out there called the Cheddar Man.
Uh,
I can also pull up an article from Carlos Manquez where he says that he's found so many different bones here, and there are some that are so distinct from the Red American race. And it looks like everything from North America to Bolivia was a Negro continent.
okay. What skeleton did you mention first?
I believe it was Luzia.
Lucia has already been proven with
Lucia,
DNA
Lucia,
that she's a American Indian.
Lucia.
So
You know,
again, do you listen? Lucia has already been proven with DNA that she is a Native American, bro. She's not come from Africa, or she's not black. So what's the next one you mentioned?
Again, now you don't realize where you just got disrespectful. We're telling y'all we're not African, bro. Like I've done my genealogy,
and I
yo,
know who
and I'm
he
not
is.
from
Okay,
Africa.
brother.
Like
You
I know
mentioned
who he
Lucia.
is.
Lucia. You
Yeah,
mentioned
there.
Lucia.
Yeah, but
Lucia's
Luzia
DNA
is of
is American
of
Indian,
this
brother.
descent. There's also hold on, wait. I
What happened to this guy?
I don't know.
I don't know, bro.
So Lucia's DNA is already been proven. She's American Indian. So again,
and that's not what you are, bro.
what am I then?
Aren't you considered like Alaskan Native or something on the census?
No, I'm not. I'm not considered Alaska Native at all,
I
bro.
could have been. I could,
So
if I'm
again,
not mistaken, on the census, your
Lucia's
category
DNA.
went
Why
from
does Lucia's
Oriental to Native
wait a minute?
Alaska to
Wait a minute. I'm not in Alaska, bro. I'm not in
now it has
Alaska.
Alaskan slash Native Indian, right?
That's
Okay,
not
This-
but
true. That's
I'm
not
not
you
from
could
true.
go ahead.
Alaska.
You could take Luzia first. I'm gonna show you this article, and I can actually go back to the whole newspaper and read the whole newspaper out to y'all, where Carlos Manquez and I forgot the other archaeologist said that everything I just said earlier, North America to Bolivia was a Negro continent. The other
Oh,
thing
okay.
was
Let me answer that. Let me
supposedly
answer that. Let
in
me answer that real
Mexico
quick.
there was
Let
a
me answer that.
major museum, right?
Everybody,
And I will pull that up too, and I'll also pull up the Jesuit letters. But first, I want to get to the part in the article about Carlos Manquez and his partner, where supposedly they found the library, and y'all people didn't give a fuck about them burning the shit down because y'all couldn't read it. This is why I asked Brody earlier, what was the symbols that he was talking about? What language was they written in? Y'all just saying symbols. That's a language, bro.
Okay,
And
so
now
Bro,
you can
so
talk.
wait,
I'm
wait
gonna
a
go
minute,
pull up the Jesuit
wait a minute,
letters.
bro, hold on,
nah, see, that's
calm
where you get
down.
it twisted.
Calm down, bro. Listen, you mentioned something. You need to stop and let me respond because you're going all over the place and trying to answer your first fucking thing you said is getting a little complicated. You understand? So calm down. So you mentioned Carlos Marquez, right? Okay, Carlos
Manquez.
Marquez. It's Marquez, bro. So again, this guy
Uh,
was in the 1930s, bro, and all he was doing was comparing skulls, bro. But that is a fallacy practice, bro. That is many cultures, many different people could share the same phenotype range. So that doesn't really prove anything, bro. And the majority of the things that he was talking about was omic skulls, omic bones, bro. And that's already been disproven with DNA and science that omics are literally our ancestors. They literally share our same haplogroups. So using Marquez, an outdated source, does not really help you. Again, you're using Lucia as a picture right here. Well, Lucia has been proven to be American Indian. She shares haplogroups with us, not with you. So anything else you wanna any other skeletons you have?
yeah, can you actually
show us the proof,
show us
because I'm
what
constantly
you're
pulling
saying?
shit up, but you ain't proving shit, bro.
You're not showing any.
You're not showing
You
any
gotta
damn
come up
thing.
Bro,
here with
bro,
actual receipts.
the science is
This
out there,
right here is
especially
telling you.
listen,
This right here is
listen.
telling you that they believe that there was Moors all through Mexico, bro.
Bro, you just pulling up memes and
Bro,
stuff, basically,
a
bro. You
book,
just
I'm
pulling
not pulling up memes, bro.
everything in
This
a
is a
book,
book.
everything in a book ain't
all
fucking
right, let
real.
me see
You
the
do
author,
understand
bro. I
that,
want to
right?
see
Okay,
the author.
cool.
I'm
It's
curious.
not. It don't
Everything
matter to
written
me
in a
because
book,
you can keep
everything
saying
written
what
in
you're
a book
saying,
is not
but I'm
true,
actually
bro.
showing proof. You're not saying
That's
nothing.
not
You're not
proof, bro.
showing
That's not
anything.
proof.
Like you
What you
going
need
to
to okay,
Walmart right now
listen.
in the store and
In
you're
order
trying to
to make
return
it
a
proof,
product, but
If
you're
you
not showing
returning the
anything.
product, show me a receipt, bro.
bro.
I don't
If
want to
you
hear you just speak on some shit. Show me a receipt.
bro.
Show me a receipt, bro. There's no
Listen
reason
to
to
this,
talk
bro.
if you don't have a receipt, bro.
Okay, then show me the signs of DNA.
Peace, peace, peace to the
Show me a
room.
receipt, bro.
Peace to the
Stop
room.
talking. Show a
Show
receipt.
me
Yeah,
the
y'all
science
going
of
back and
Lucia,
forth.
bro. Show me the
Stop
science of
talking
DNA.
and show a receipt.
Exactly.
Can
He's
I
telling
ask a question?
This is how I'm gonna do
Can I
this.
ask a
Hold on,
question,
Yusuf. I'm
gentlemen?
gonna let you go. Hold on, Yusuf. This is how I'm. All right, bro. If you're not showing a receipt or showing some proof, your mic should be muted. You got 2 times to do that shit and you kick, bro. Straight like that, bro. If you're not showing a receipt, backing up anything you fucking talking about, bro, ain't no point to come up, bro. Cause Yusuf is about to pull out a whole fucking library on y'all. And y'all gonna keep saying that books ain't where you need to go. How does that not make sense? Where do you get your knowledge from? If you don't get it from your ancestors and then turn around and fact check the shit, where the fuck you getting your knowledge from, bro? Now, Yusuf, go ahead and unmute and ask your question to whoever you asking.
All right, I'm just taking it from the top of y'all left off at, which is Lucia. And he's saying Lucia showed up to be Amerindian or connected to the Native Americans. That is 100% true. Lucia was connected to the Native Americans, and she had the haplogroups or the genealogy, the genotype that connected her to the land bridge. But also in Lucia, did she or did she not have Australian Melanesian DNA?
Correct.
That Australian and Melanesian DNA is linked directly to Africa, correct?
No, it doesn't, bro. Asians are more connected to us.
All right,
Asians are more
Pause.
connected to Australians, bro.
Maybe let me rephrase the question. So you're
Melanesians and
saying
Asians are more
that
connected to
Hold
Australians
on.
than Africans.
Agree to disagree on that, but let them talk. Let them finish.
yeah, let me rephrase that. So in my mind, Melanesia, Polynesia, Papua New Guinea, Australia, Africa, they all share genetics. They all share genetics across the board.
Yes.
Everyone
So if
shares
Lucia,
genetics.
so Lucia shares genetics with the people that shares genetics with Africans. Lucia shares genetics with Melanesians, Papua New Guineans, Australians, and Africans. So we do have.
So why is Lucia's haplogroup not connected to Africa?
That's neither here or there. You know how many Black Americans that have
No.
haplogroups
You need
that
to
are
answer that, Yusuf. You need to answer that. Why is Lucia's haplogroup so far away from African haplogroups?
because of the way the haplogroups were charted. What made one haplo turn into 25 different subhaplos or 100 different subhaplos?
So
Going back to
mutations occurred, right?
Let me give you another
Mutations occurred,
example.
right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, mutations occurred.
Okay,
but now we
then
have to talk
they're
about
not
what is the
Africans no
mutation
more.
rate.
So that proves that they're not Africans no more, bro.
Pause. What is an African? Hold on, pause. Hold on, you lost me.
Listen, if we go by what science says that everybody came out of Africa, right? You're trying to tie down the haplogroup of Lucia to the Australians and then to Africa, right? But you're making a mistake right there.
No. You bringing up haplogroups.
Yes,
You're bringing up haplogroups. Pause, brother. We already stated that her haplogroup.
Science is a lie.
Let me finish. You're bringing up haplogroups.
You're trying to immediately.
You're making an assumption. I made my statement very clear.
How recent?
I didn't say her haplogroup is Australian. I didn't say her haplogroup is African. I said she has genetics connected to Australians and Africans.
But how long ago is that mutation took place? What you're trying to do is you see Lucia has American Indian haplogroup, and somehow you're trying to connect it to Africa as if it happened recent. But according to that same science,
since you want to bring up haplogroups anyway, bro, ain't your haplogroup like Siberian and East Asian?
Hold on, I'm lost. I'm trying to understand what Daniel is saying.
Listen, my haplogroup is C, and it's connected to this land right here. It's not nowhere else.
Aren't y'all tied to the Siberians and East Asians though?
So if you're gonna use science to say that, then the same science says that you're from Africa.
You brought that shit up. I've been using books.
Y'all losing me. I still don't understand what Daniel is saying.
Isn't your haplogroup connected to the Siberians and East Asians?
I never said Siberia, bro. I never said that. So you're using science to connect.
No, you brought up the haplogroups.
It's just confusion now.
I never brought up Siberia. Why did you bring up Siberia?
Because you brought up haplogroups.
I brought up Siberia. That
What
Lucia
does
was
Africa
connected
have
to the
to do with
Native
that data, bro?
Americans. I brought up her haplogroup as Native American, but I
I'm sorry.
also brought up that Lucia had African, Australian, Melanesian genetics, etc. Now, when I talked about her African, Melanesian, Australian genetics, etc., I didn't say anything of a haplogroup. Now, you're saying it's been a long period of time, 10,000 years, 20,000 years, or however long the mutation took, which going back to we have to get a proper mutation rate. What causes a mutation? How often does a mutation happen, etc., etc.?
Right. So that puts Lucia very, very distant away from Africans.
Hey,
If her haplogroup, if
Y'all,
her
everybody
haplogroup,
came out of Africa.
um,
that's
singing
what you
bear,
could just literally
like
say right now.
So everybody came out of Africa except for them.
No,
No, no
that's
exactly.
one's
Africa
saying
is
that.
a
No one,
Exactly.
theory.
no
I'm
one
not
is
even
saying that.
tripping on
No
that.
one, listen. No one is
And
saying that. Did you hear me say that? I
basically,
didn't
that's
even
what
say that.
you're saying, bro.
Listen, you can look at things two ways. You can look at what your culture says about your creation stories, or you can look at what science
No
says.
wonder
But
why ain't nobody showing no fucking receipts,
Yeah,
bro.
I
even
swear,
that
I'm
same
like
I'm
science,
tired of
literally,
hearing
Science
people
are
talk and
I'm,
nobody showing
liars.
a receipt.
I'm literally like the
I
owner
got
of
some receipts,
right
but
now, and
I've been
people
letting
are
y'all talk.
saying that
Can
they,
I say something real quick,
you
Noble?
know,
Go
I'm
ahead, go
Noble.
ahead, go ahead.
Um, when they speak about culture, can I really want to know this for real. What do the people in America who are heavily melanated with beautiful hair that reaches towards the sun, what culture do we celebrate that the Africans celebrate? I really need to hear this. I've been wanting to know this for a long time. Can you tell me?
that we share in common, right?
Yeah, I want to know for any of the Native Americans, can you explain the culture? Because he said culture connects you places and things like that. Can you talk about the culture that the people who are in America,
and
who they call
who said
black?
that? Who said that? Who said
Let
that?
let me finish my. You just said it. You just said that culture connects you to people and things like that.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said
Okay, okay,
you can look at it
okay,
two ways.
okay.
No.
Singing
You're
bear,
gonna ask me a
singing
question
bear,
that has to do
singing
with
bear.
what I said, and you
Let
didn't
me
even
finish my
understand what I said.
statement. Singing bear. You are so. You always say when y'all come to our spaces that y'all can't speak. I'm making a statement and you keep interrupting me. I just want to know because y'all say our ancestors came from Africa. Can you please tell me what part of our culture that we celebrate that screams Africa for any Native American who wants to answer that question? What culture do we celebrate?
I don't know. You guys have your own tradition, American tradition over here. You guys are disconnected from Africa, so you guys pretty much don't practice it. But the only people that I could say that are closely to practicing their culture from Africa are probably people that try to practice Mardi Gras. They try to like hide African culture within the Native American culture. You know, so probably that's the only
Oh
people that
my
I
God.
probably
Can
know
I
that
Please,
can I ask can
let
I
me get
ask
him.
what
Let me
is
get
an
him.
African? What
Let me
is
get
an
him.
African?
Let, please,
Wait
can
a
I get
minute.
him?
So everybody's just
Please,
gonna
can I
fucking
get him?
so everybody's just gonna
Please,
interrupt
can I get
what
him?
I'm saying. You asked a question. I'm trying to answer your question. Okay.
Before I
You
finish.
hold up. Let me clarify. You saying that the people because I just one of my good sisters just did a video about the Mardi Gras Indians,
So
and
you guys are not
and
gonna let me
and if
answer.
you
You're
know
just gonna
anything,
mute me.
Just show some
anything.
respect, bro. That's it.
I wasn't done talking, bro. You just cut me off.
I
We're
wish
Um,
that you could
already
be
on we're
talking
actually
y'all
already on
also
different
yelling and shit
subjects
when you could just
because
have a
we went
conversation.
from speaking
Nobody
about
has done what
Lucia.
I asked for.
We went talking about Lucia and understanding what's an African, and he was saying the mutation happened. So once the mutation happened, they're no longer African. And I was trying to get an understanding of his definition of an African because the word African, we might have different meanings in our minds. You understand?
I'm
Yeah.
talking about people that came from Africa. If we're talking about science and haplogroups, then we have to acknowledge that the science says that everyone came out of Africa. Correct?
Correct.
No, because
Okay,
I
I see
literally
you.
show you
I see
that
you. But now,
America was
is
the
there the
first one.
possibility of a so-called African being out of Africa for 10, 20, 30, 40,000 years and not having a mutation?
No.
Yes, there
You
is. Why
you
isn't
you,
it?
you will have to show me a ancient African skeleton that was here in the Americas that shows haplogroup E1B1A or haplogroup L3 or something like that?
All right.
Haplogroup
All
J
right,
or
bet. Hold on.
haplogroup U or haplogroup T.
Okay.
No, what is the haplogroup for Africans?
LE, but we know
L1,
that.
L1, L2.
Pause. We know that a
Okay,
lot
so
of these mutations, we know that
is there any?
haplogroup M, and we know that there's macro haplogroup and then micro haplogroups. So haplogroup L, M, and N would be under the haplogroup L, and they would have
No,
happened in Africa or the Middle East.
All right,
They're
no,
debating
you
no,
got
it.
you
brother,
gotta have haplogroup X
Yusuf.
though.
I'm asking you this, Yusuf. I'm asking you simply this, Yusuf. So Africans are either haplogroup E1B1A, paternal, or maternal, haplogroup L. Correct, right? So if there hasn't been
No,
no
that's
mutation,
incorrect.
wait
That's
a minute.
incorrect.
So
There's
what's
multiple
haplogroup
haplogroup.
mtDNA? What's haplogroup mtDNA for Africans?
You're missing my point.
All
If you
right.
type,
No, I'm simply asking you, what is
Hey,
the
guys.
haplogroup mtDNA for Africans?
we're
All you
saying
The
it's
guys.
a
Native
lot
Americans.
bigger than what we think. So
Hey,
when you talk about
guys.
haplogroup M, that's also African.
Gentlemen, please, for a second, I want to say this because me and the host are both getting tired of the back and forth. We know Yusuf, we know you can pull up receipts. Singing Bear, yo,
I got
you keep
receipts.
Yeah.
asking him. I just listen. I'm talking. Um, you keep asking for receipts, but bro, you came up here and have not shown
Not
not one
one.
receipt. So if you're gonna ask Yusuf
And then when
for
I
a
asked you a
receipt,
simple question, you ain't answer it. You walked around it.
I swear. So
Yusuf came up
I'm
here.
not done. I am not done talking.
Well,
Now,
hurry up.
if you're gonna ask Yusuf for a receipt, which I know he can pull up, bro, you gotta promise one thing. Either you're gonna straight come back with something that we can all see that can prove him wrong, or you got to get the fuck out, bro. Cause I'm tired of you
What
here.
claim did I
We
make?
are
What
both.
claim did I
I
make?
am not fucking done talking.
That's
Well, don't
disrespectful.
what claim did I
I
make?
am not done. You know what, bro? I'm not gonna go there with you.
Yo, like I said the first time, bro.
Uh, um,
And you just
I mean, Yusuf came
Right.
up here and just clarified what I said. He literally,
No.
he literally just said what I said. He said
No
Lucia is
receipts,
a
bro.
married Indian.
Man,
He
my,
said
my,
Lucia is
my
a married
TikTok,
Indian,
my
bro.
TikTok full of receipts,
Shut
man.
up.
If y'all want to see receipts, then y'all go see them. But I'm out, man. Fuck all
All
y'all.
right,
Hey,
cool.
hey,
Deuces, bro.
Yusuf literally
I'm kind
came
of
up
glad
here
you're gone anyway. The
and
music don't
told
stop.
you, bro.
Hey, Singing Bear.
God.
Singing Bear. What did
What?
Yusuf prove?
That Lucia was American Indian. Her haplogroup is American Indian. What you were
And
disputing me
hey,
about.
hey, you want to know what I heard in there when you said something about the American Indian? He said it traces back to the continent of Eurasia. Where are
He
you
didn't
from
say
then,
that.
bro?
He didn't
If
say
Lucia is
Eurasia. He
related to
didn't even
you,
say. He didn't even say Eurasia.
right? If Lucia is
He
related
didn't.
to you, Yusuf, what did you say her DNA was related to?
I said that she's definitely related to the Native Americans according to the studies, but she definitely had genetics connected her to Papua New Guinea,
Bam,
Melanesia, etc.
bam,
Papua New Guinea,
bam,
all them places is not here,
bam,
right?
bam. Gotcha, dumbass.
Singing Bear. No, hold
Correct.
on. Shut up.
None of those places are
Yusuf,
correct.
all them places are not actually here, right?
Correct. They're not here.
They're not here, right?
It connects her to the other side. It
To the
cannot be
other side. So his
No,
family obviously was traveling over here, right? If he's connected to Lucia, right?
Yusuf, what's American Indian, Yusuf? He literally said it. Lucia is connected to the American Indian.
But like I said, it's
Say it
hard.
now.
It's gonna be
Keep trying to
difficult for me.
move, bro.
It's gonna be
Shut up.
difficult to have a conversation
Shut
here.
up, bro. What did you say, Yusuf?
Yusuf, even
I'm
Yusuf.
saying
All right, now
we
go
have
on.
can Yusuf talk? I'm saying that
Thank
me
you.
and
Please
Danny
talk,
might
Yusuf.
actually agree on a lot of things, and there's a terminology issue, and we might be using a particular term and have different meanings in our head, and we need to iron out the terminology issues. And once we do that, we might actually be in agreement.
Now go ahead and say
Right.
what you were saying about her haplo group, bro, because he was being very rude. You said the haplo group connected where?
I didn't speak on haplogroups, but I believe she is a haplogroup that would be A, B, C, or D. I want to say C. I want to say she's haplo C, but I might be incorrect there. But her haplogroup is 100% connected to the Americas. Now her genetics connected to everywhere, Asia / Australia, Papua New Guinea, everywhere. But her haplogroup connects it to the Americas.
Which the American haplogroup in their DNA, right? It connects back to the Eurasia continent, correct?
Well, it depends on which one. If she's a C, yeah, it's going to connect to. See, it gets tricky now because you have to know
He
alleles and
said
things, and we
C.
would have to get the terminologies of alleles and what makes a haplogroup. So I know
And those are all
specifically that
Semitic people. Those are all Semitic people. The Afro-Woolly.
Yeah, so I know the haplogroups that are identical between the so-called African, Asian, and a European. And when they're identical, they're called different things within people. So haplogroup C might actually come from haplogroup L or N, and it's just been relabeled because it's an Asian variant, etc. So it gets a little confusing unless you know the technical terminologies.
Why are you believing in the science that the courts won't even take?
Those are still the lands of Shem that Shem inherited. If y'all look in the Book of Jubilees,
I don't know about no shit.
With the Bible.
We're not talking, Sam. We're just talking specific science.
I'm coming with the Bible. The Bible has facts in it, though.
I ain't gonna lie,
Of course, the colonizer fuck with the Bible as well.
But ain't showing shit.
Yeah.
That was the thing that was kind of bothering me, man. Like, I asked you to show receipts, bro.
That was what the whole live was about. Don't come up here unless you cannot prove what you're saying. You can't have anything. You cannot come up here and not
Somebody
have
just said if she group C, that her people come from Asia.
To further what I was trying to bring up earlier with the haplogroups, there's been some misconceptions about African haplogroups and et cetera, and they having issues with so-called back migrations or not. So what was believed to be a European haplogroup R1 is very well not a European haplogroup, and is also a haplogroup that started in Africa. And there's two other haplogroups that they thought started outside of Africa, but new evidence is showing they started inside of Africa, such as haplogroup M. They thought it started in the Middle East or Europe, but haplogroup M may have very well also started in Africa, and they're looking into this now. And when you're dealing with these haplogroups, you have to understand that they're being categorized by people with certain biases. And when other scientists and geneticists have stepped up to look at these haplogroup categorizations, they notice some mislabelings within them. So when you think haplogroup D and you say it's strictly American, understand that haplogroup D is still highly African. A lot of African alleles in this. And when you say haplogroup C, it's a lot of African alleles in haplogroup C as well. They were simply just separated from Africa for whatever reasons. And this is what's being ironed out now. But we know haplogroup C and D is African variants or originated in Africa. We know haplogroup R1, R1A or R1B originated in Africa. And we know that these haplogroups are like 3/4 of the Native American haplogroups, which means a lot of these would have existed pre-colonization. This is just an erasure of the Black with the African. But science is actually fixing this now.
Yusuf, right. You guys mind if I say something now?
Well, my wife's been holding her tongue for a minute. She want to ask Yusuf a question.
I want to ask Yusuf a question real quick. So, Yusuf, based on the science and stuff, because I know you've really studied into this, brother, I have a question. Based on this science, wouldn't this prove that the Moors were conquering different places and creating different nations and tribes and such?
Well, it's to not have anyone in their feelings, let's just keep it simple. This proves that the world was international and there was back and forth trade, etc., long before 1500. So like right now, a couple of pieces of paperwork that I read through concerning Islam or the Moors was the stuff that the Rhode Island University have found 900 AD Quranic manuscripts. So we found Quranic manuscripts from 900 AD in Rhode Island, and it was made in the Kuftic Aramaic Arabic script, and it was an actual Quran. So now we know, hey, Islam was in Rhode Island in 900 AD with Quranic manuscripts already. No one told us about this. This is, hush hush. We know that there's a Phoenician/Egyptian link with the Cherokee Nation. And I don't mean just recent post-colonial, but I'm talking pre-colonial within their language and within their blood, because now we find haplogroups J, U, and T in Cherokee bones, not just modern-day Cherokee, which means there was people from North Africa or the Mediterranean in the Americas 1, 2, 3,000 years ago off the bat. And there's a lot of other evidence that we're putting up now anthropologically and genetically that shows that the Americas was international.
Islam, brother.
So that comes from those people that are migrated and also were colonized. So there's a mixture of those things in there. And that's the reason why a lot of these people, like that big mouth brother that was in here, only leans to one side of his storytelling from the moon, stars, and quasars he's talking about, and doesn't dig deep enough and only leads to one side of what he believes is right. And that's where the mix up with that. So when Yusef is talking about his knowledge, it just makes so much sense. It brings so much truth and fact to something that this guy or one person only believes in one side of their belief when they're so close-minded to it. Just like my people,
So
the
you really,
Pacific Islanders. Like we weren't like, on them islands in the South Pacific near the equator, the whole time, like we were made right there. No, we discovered those islands, and that's how we navigated, because we already had that navigating and building our sea crafts to get across the ocean to put us on those islands. Those islands, when we were in the water, didn't come up from underneath us, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're Pacific Islanders. No, there's no way in hell that something like that could happen. Just like this fool said that his people were in the waters, and then the land just appeared underneath their feet. Like, give me a break, dude.
so
You know what I'm
y'all
saying?
Hey, Tribe, before you get that out,
That kind of goes with all our creation stories.
hold on. Bro just
Right.
literally proved what I was telling old buddy earlier. I had literally just told old buddy that.
I think it's funny how people think that some spit in a tube that has bacteria DNA in it, because I researched, the whole testing method and everything, can tell you where your ancestors came from.
I know. That's what I did it on purpose. I'm applauding God. Thank you so much for finally saying it. Woo.
I love y'all. I got to go, and may the Most High bless you.
Blessings. I share that.
Peace. Thank you so much.
I'm
for
weak
coming
that
up.
Brody just turned around and said the same shit I had said. I said, I was like, they even put out an article about that shit back in like 2000 something, like 2013 or something. And they was like, them people said they didn't know what that shit meant. That shit happened in Mexico too. It was like they didn't know what it meant. I got the article on that one.
For the people in the chat, to continue their research, as I brung up before, the University of Rhode Island had found 900 AD manuscripts, 8th century manuscripts in Rhode Island. You can also check with the University of Texas with the Mia Congarza tribe. They've been trying to get their ancient bones that's supposedly 2,000 to 14,000 years old. And the Mia Congarza tribe and the Caddo Nation are not able to get the bones because the University of Texas research crew says that the bones are evidently African or Anglo-American and is not connected to their tribe in any way. So these would be 2,000-year-old African bones, not connected to Mia Congarza or the Caddo Nation people today.
I mean,
And the Mia Congarza tribe in particular say they've been on the land 14,000 years never moves, and they can prove it. And they're claiming that they've been on the land 14,000 years unmoved, but these bones don't match them. It matches Africans.
Well, our bones are either getting eaten or they build buildings over our bones, you know, and you won't, or our graves, you know, or building over Indian burial grounds. And like with the World Trade Center, I think when it fell down, I think they found bodies under there, right?
I'm not entirely sure, but I also have another article, I want to say 2016, 2017, that states that the Americas was peopled by two different peoples. So it was two different peoples that peopled the Americas, one from Asia and the other from Australia, Africa, Melanesia, Papua New Guinea, etc. There's obviously an import of two completely separate genetics thousands of years ago.
Shit. I ain't even
So an
looked at that.
understanding that the Americas and the world was international for thousands of years, genetic mixing has very well been happening for thousands of years also.
Obviously.
You couple that with the known suppression. There was a suppression of American history and there was a suppression of African history. We have 150 years of eugenicists and racists leading the field of science. We have 150 years of trying to prove that an African or so-called colored people were inferior mentally, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of people beliefs today, general education people beliefs today, are based on this eugenicist science.
DNA test don't know if you white or black or something, man. But still, where you from? That shit for entertainment purposes only anyway.
Someone is saying there are still 100% Native Americans today.
No.
I would argue that's not possible. What are they comparing it to? There is no 100% anything today. What they call 100% Native American on DNA test, it's still a mixture of different things. They'll tell you you're 100% Native Mexican. You know, what does that mean? Well, a Native Mexican would be like 30, 40% European, 30, 40% indigenous, and then they just call it Native Mexican, but it's actually a mix of different things already.
Mm-hmm.
So here is a proof or a receipt of them building over our cemeteries. That's just one. I got some more.
That's why I love show and prove.
I swear.
Yusuf always be showing and proving.
That's because that bro got a whole fucking library in his
I
damn
know,
house.
man.
You know, I wasn't coming to debate or, you know, I just came to have a conversation because I saw Danny and other people and I actually saw some legitimate questions thrown out and I saw some misunderstandings. Like I said, our terminologies, a lot of us use the same word, but we have different understandings in our mind.
Yeah. I mean, we know you can prove back up anything you be saying because we know you've really truly done the hard work and the digging. And that's why we always appreciate when you come up anyway, because you teaching
As you see it,
everybody.
I'm sitting here now. I'm not even trying to tap. I'm just tapping into these.
Mm-hmm. Same with Goddess. I appreciate when you come up as well, Goddess, because you be just doing the same thing. Just she do like Yusuf too. Sometimes she just don't say nothing. She just show on the screen.
Yeah, so I got all my books that I've been doing different studies in different subjects, which I have my genetics. Everything that I was speaking of on genetics, I actually have printed out. I have a few studies already printed out. I don't know where it's at. I'm kind of disorganized at the moment.
Hey.
But yeah, everything I was speaking of, I do have the receipts in here. But like I
Yusuf,
said, it just wasn't a debate. This is just having a conversation and trying to come to an understanding of what we mean when we speak, you know? At least that was my purpose.
you, Yusuf, look, I love to organize and alphabetize and stuff like that. If you let me frolic in your library, I will organize it for you.
You know, I'm
So
already in
serious.
my mind. I'm about to dump 3/4 of this library into storage, and I'm a run with my political works. You know, my treaties, constitutions,
I just found
etc.
that.
And I'm gonna dive into law and language. I'm gonna dive into law and language, and I'm gonna dump most of this. You know, I did a lot of this for my own learning. You know, study groups and to show receipts for other people. But I don't give a fuck what other people believe now. You know, I know what it is. So I'm about to start making moves politically, making moves in the private. You know.
Yeah, but all that is important. Is That's why it's so important to know the history and everything that we're discovering, because if you don't know what happened, you will not be able to fix anything. You don't know what the problem is and how we came to be, or else you're just gonna keep making the same mistakes. That's why I'm like, I want to delve so much into your library and stuff, because I had as a kid so many questions. I still have so many questions that I just don't know where to go. And
And
so
if I
I don't.
link up with the right brethren, I'm in Illinois, province of Illinois, and I'm in process of linking up. And if I catch a nice spot with a study hall or a study group, I'll be donating my half this library, and it'll be posted in there so everyone can learn from them.
That's awesome, and I
But yeah,
appreciate it. And
taking up too much space in my house.
yeah, I can
No,
imagine.
everybody's still down there talking about that shit. Like I ain't just show the haplogroups that connect to Asia.
Like you just said, people gonna believe what they want to believe. But when you know something, who cares what people believe?
I swear. Cause every time somebody
Yeah,
come up here, nobody like start showing no receipts really. Like y'all just
Mhm.
trying to argue some shit. You ain't showing nothing. Then
And
one dude came up here, showed the genealogy shit, and wouldn't show us what year it was in.
mhm.
you know,
And I thank you on behalf of anybody in advance who ends up going on and getting in that class and being able to get access to your library. Thank you for donating that, because I uh, I know how much that